Throne Room of Supreme Commander Garzon. Okay, so this sounds like the main place, so I would say definitely need to save before we go in, y'all. And I think instead of using, I mean, how many potions could it really take? An interesting question. Because we could last a bunch, but I don't really want to do that. It's pretty lucky, so... I think we use maybe this. So we're gonna try this, and if we need more mana during the fight, we can, I guess, reload. So maybe we'll save this as 2. But yeah, let's try this. So before we go in, we can at least take a look. It's empty. Wow, this throne room is pretty cool though. But it's empty though, which is pretty suspicious. Exhausted, covered in blood and nectar, you finally reach the inner sanctum of this fortress. It is the throne room of Garzon, the chamber from which the war on your people is waged. At first, you don't see anyone there. You're horrified by the possibility that, after all your fighting, your foes may have just fled. Then you hear laughter. Mocking laughter, and lots of it. Slowly, bizarre and powerful creatures become visible. They are sitting in the chairs, staring at you with contempt. Sitting at the head of all of them is Garzon, the stunted, twisted Archmage who has slaughtered so many of your people. His eyes are wild with anticipation. He is overjoyed to be able to battle you at last. His protective spells cloak him in fiery energy. You stare at each other for a long moment, sizing each other up, getting used to the fact that you are finally face to face. Then, Garzon makes a short, chopping motion with his hand, and battle is joined. That's pretty cool. Like the introduction. So let's see if we can do it. Not a great start. So we got obviously Empire Dervishes. Got Liches, easy of course. Heikai. And oh my gosh, the cat folk, the Rakshasa. And then Garzon. So Garzon by himself would probably be pretty difficult, but basically you got the strongest enemies in the game supporting him. So this is gonna be a struggle, but we're gonna try. Let's see if we can do it. In golems. Okay. Galzard crumbles, overcome. Your attack may have been fatal, maybe not. It doesn't matter. In his moment of weakness, he loses control of the intense defensive magic he wrapped himself in. The delicate balance of his spells disrupted, the power tears loose. In the end, the strength of his defenses and the force of his paranoia proves his undoing. As Galzard's shields fly apart, he is torn limb from limb before your eyes. As his anguished dying screams echoes through the halls, you hear his few remaining servants teleporting away. Soon, you are alone in this chamber, trapped with nothing around you but blood and walls of blades. But then there is a chiming noise. You look around and see the disappearing form of Winter Onio. Behind where she was, there was an opening in the wall. Perhaps escape is possible. You look at Galzard's corpse. His brilliance will no longer serve the Empire. His awesome power will no longer send terrible foes against your people. The army has lost its head. Now, perhaps, the body may soon follow. Congratulations, you have slain Galzard, commander of the Empire forces in exile, and completed the third victory condition of Exile II. When the Empire invasion came, it seemed that exile was doomed. It seemed impossible that a few bedraggled rebels scuttling about in caves could defeat the mightiest nation your world has ever known. And alas, your nation may still lose. The forces the Empire has in your lands are still mighty, highly trained, and well equipped with steel and magic. You are strong and skilled, but even you cannot defeat a whole army single-handedly. This day, however, something has changed. Your actions have shifted the balance, so that both sides of the scale have equal weight. The Empire has allies, but now so do you, and the Venetai. The Empire has more forces in exile, but now that the teleporter has been destroyed, they will have great difficulty getting them supplies and reinforcements. The sides will now be much more even. Finally, though the Empire has more wizards and priests in exile, their leader has been lost. Their greatest mind has disappeared from the earth. Without Galzard's genius, their edge over you is greatly diminished. Acting alone, through skill, strength, and unbelievable persistence, you have done the impossible. Your small band has single-handedly shaped the course of a war. Exile owes you an awesome debt. You have handed the Empire a devastating punishment for its arrogance. And really, what more could you have hoped for? Congratulations. You have, through great intelligence and endurance, completed all 3 victory conditions of Exile II Crystal Souls. Well done indeed. Yet the story is not truly done. Your people are still trapped in the underworld. Now there is yet another race to share the limited space of the caves with. The Venetai are strange and alien, and they still have not taken their revenge on the Empire for the theft of this Crystal Souls. No, all is not settled with them. Yet. But such mysteries can wait. You have struck your blows. Now, at long, long last, is your time to rest. Wow. That was quite the fight. It's funny, we actually, I guess, backed him into the corner where the exit was. So that's kind of convenient for us. But yeah, that was quite the fight. Easily the hardest fight in the game. Even if you take into account Exile 1 and 2. So, very, very cool. There's a lot to discuss. I'm going to try to be efficient and not yap, but basically, there was a long road to get here. So I'm sure I'm going to put a compilation of the many attempts. And there's actually a very easy way to make this fight very easy. I guess that wasn't a great way to describe it. An easy way to make this fight, it's fine. Okay, so when we started out, we were like, okay, not going to be that hard, used all our potions, right? We didn't want to rest, okay, whatever, easy, right? It's a joke, right? Walk in, get instantly destroyed within like 2 rounds, like half the party is torn to dust or obliterated, right? It's a bad day, right? The problem, though, is that if you rest and regain all your spell points before using the potions, all of the enemies in the dungeon basically, respawn because, my favorite mechanic of the game, But that's bad for the fight because then all of these, liches and Heikai and Galzal, they can't summon things because you've reached the maximum limit, basically on the dungeon map, right? So, and you might think, okay, but you can't summon things either, so it's balanced. Not really, right? Because you pretty much just surround the liches, they get destroyed. You surround the Heikai, they get destroyed, and then you just surround Galzal, right? So I was like, okay, well, this isn't, this isn't how it's meant to be done, right? So, but we were struggling with, the amount of spell points that we had to start with without using the potions, right? That was a problem. So basically, I went back to a previous save in the dungeon right before we teleported to this room at the southern end of this floor. And I rested at the teleportal and then went back through the dungeon and killed a good few of the enemies. And now you might say, okay, you rested to gain all the spell points back. You probably spent a lot of those spell points killing the enemies, yes, but we still ended up with a net positive of spell points, and we didn't trivialize the fight. So I was happy with that, because we were in a better position, but we still got the correct amount of challenge. And yeah, this took quite a few attempts, even with the little bit more efficient starting with the spell points. Completely necessary was to pre-buff with Major Blessing. So basically, you pretty much get in combat, you're pre-buffed, and then you enter the room, which spawns the enemies then, and then you need to just go for the liches, right? Or the Heikai, whatever you can get. This particular run, it was interesting. Both of the Heikai somehow ended up on the right side. The one on the left, I guess, moved over, which was nice because Ferdinand was on the right side, so he has Demon Slayer, so he completely, he does like twice as much damage against demons or something, so that was fortunate, but it wasn't easy though. Yeah, they definitely summoned a lot at some point. I think they summoned Basilisks too, so we had to kill those quick. The problem with doing so many attempts is you forget which basically seed is from which attempt, right? So I've done quite a few today. Today is actually a new day compared to the previous start of this. I actually came back and finished this, so that's probably why I sound more rejuvenated. But yeah, so that was a really cool fight. One last thing that I want to kind of talk about is, I do like the fight. I think it's cool. Cinematically though, and thematically, I prefer Exile 1 though, right? So Exile 1, you teleport onto the surface world, right? Into the king's or the emperor's palace, right? So you're essentially paratrooping into enemy territory, right? There's people behind you, there's people in front of you, there's people you're fighting, right? Then it's this really intense race against the clock because you're bleeding spell points. I don't know if the enemies actually would respawn behind you, but canonically, right? They hear all this noise, and there's all these reserves of troops rushing up the palace to get to you. Very intense, very cinematic, right? You get to the emperor's main chambers, right? You're fighting through the imperial guard. You're assassinating the emperor, right? And then if you got all of the brooches, you're able to teleport away successfully extract. Completely epic, completely cinematic. This is cinematic in a different way, right? Instead of being paratrooping into the enemy territory and having that race against the clock, this is more, okay, here's the fortress. You had that completely epic introduction with Galzad with his defensive barrier, right? That was really cool. You had to walk across the bridge. Very, very neat. And then you're fighting through this dungeon that contains, the toughest enemies that you've ever faced, right? Aside from dragons, which you don't actually... Did we have to fight a dragon? I know we fought one just to, experience it, but I don't know if you've actually forced to fight a dragon in the game. I can't remember, but aside from dragons, you have liches, you have Heikai, You have, you know, all sorts of demons and you know, basilisks, right? You know, it's a bad time, right? So very, very, very cool. Great fight. Great game. You know, excellent time. You know, this was a wonderful experience. And, you know, this is officially the last victory condition. So technically the game is finished by this point, but we do have one more thing that I want to do, which is something that we kind of missed last time, but there was those coordinates on the map to teleport to a kind of special amusing location. So I think we're going to end it on a kind of a lighthearted note. And so yeah, let's go ahead and end combat. And so you can see the remnants of the fight here. And Garzal's Throne next to a bottomless pit, which is very villain-esque. You have to love. I like to imagine maybe there's like a trapdoor under this tile, and he has like a level. You know, that's a classic villain thing, right? You know, that's great. Very, very cool. Yeah, great game. And yeah, so we actually had an attempt before this that I was really happy with, and we did the whole thing, and the first time throughout this playthrough, I forgot to hit record. And I was pretty upset, but I think this attempt even went maybe better. It's hard to say, right? But yeah, I forgot to hit record, and I was literally you know, near the end of you know, what I wanted to do, and I was like, oh, that's weird. It's not recording. Maybe I accidentally stopped it, and I'm like, okay, I never actually pressed start. So that's great. But anyway, let's step in, and I forgot to turn the sounds back on. But yeah, the fight was you know, so many attempts. You want to make it go faster. Let's go ahead and rest. Rejuvenate our band of adventurers. They certainly deserve it after that that long fight. And yeah, so there's one last thing that we want to do before we are officially what we consider complete with the game. There's that one quest where you can bring like alchemy reagents to the guy. I don't have it in me to go find Grey Mold Salve. There's a few things that I want. There was the town where you get the gray pass from. There was that like prisoner. I could never figure out how to speak to him because they wouldn't let you in. So I don't know what that's about. So there's a few loose ends, but I think you know, this is like probably 90% done, right? So anyway, I am going to going completely the wrong way because I'm so excited, but make our way to the teleportal, and we're gonna go back up to the Erica region, and we're gonna find hopefully a secret passage along the lava peninsula that will lead us to coordinates that will let us know what to input to the teleportal to go to the last secret area as a final send-off. So I will see you guys there. Okay, so we're back. I actually had to come back and start recording this again in a little time, but regardless, we did try, as you saw in the footage, to go to the Lava Peninsula, but when we did go there, we successfully found the secret passage, and it took us to a very remote place, is what it was called. Unfortunately, I didn't see anything to really interact with there. I couldn't find any other secret passages or any clues to these coordinates, but thankfully, you know, this is kind of on the internet, so you can know what it is, and in a way, it is kind of just something that maybe somebody just tried, right, and it just basically worked. But yeah, the last thing to close off the game and all adventure with these characters is to do a kind of a fun thing. I think it is literally just East Tor Egg. Okay, here we go. A very peculiar area. Yeah, I've never done this, but I did read about, you know, that this was a, you know, I mean, yeah, it's basically a secret, right, an Easter egg. So I don't know if there's really anything to do here, if there's any enemies or not. Okay, there's a passageway. Actually, a pit. Okay, I think I see what the lava kind of makes a face. That's kind of funny. Okay. That's pretty cool. Oh, it's like an imp. I see. Okay. Right. That's cool. Okay. I saved, but I'm worried there's no way out. Surely there's a way out, right? Oh, well, yeah, the pit is probably the way out, right? But yeah, so this is cool. It's you don't get to see too much large scale artwork like this in the game, so this is pretty cool. It's like a little face. It kind of looks like an imp to me. I suppose you could say this is probably a lot of creatures, right? It kind of could resemble a lot of those. Maybe I would say Chungus-like, but unfortunately not so. Like the head would have to be a bit more narrow, and you have to have the big kind of rabbit ears, so not quite Chungus-like, unfortunately. Yeah, so this is very cool. Let's go down the pit. Coolio Cave. Golem attacks Golem. This is unique. I think we are gonna get attacked. Actually, no. They're just attacking each other. I don't really understand. I want to check this wall for secrets though. Actually cool, you can walk out. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I don't know what this means. Oh, it was actually a 2v2, I guess. These guys are on the same team. Whoa, okay. If you step on the symbol, it spawns merchants and merchants, okay. I guess they're friendly. Maybe it's a question of how many merchants does it take to kill a golem? I don't really know. You don't know what to do. Yeah, they're not doing too great. Golems have like 200 HP. I kind of want to wait until they die, but I think that would take forever though. What we could do is let's see, we turn the sounds off. This would speed it up for sure. So does there's two symbols now, okay. What does this one do? Nothing. Oh, there's a secret door. Okay, so it was worth paying for. So, there's actually another one. Interesting. Okay, let's turn the sounds back on, and we'll check these out. Go here first. The graphics are us in our best SCA garb. So we do appear in the game in a sense. I'm not sure what exactly this means. Again, I wasn't from this era, so I don't know what SCA stands for. I probably should, but Probably, I mean, this is cool because it's like comments from the dev. The World of Exile 2 was completed 3:51 a.m. October 24th, 1995. Took a long time. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if this was the longest game of the three, actually. I looked at some of the links of different playthroughs, and Exile 2 seems like it actually takes longer than Exile 3, which is surprising because Exile 3, you know, is on the surface as well. So yeah, 3:51 a.m. I don't think I've ever, well, I did work night shift, so yeah, I have stayed technically up to that before. October, a wonderful month. Everybody loves autumn. 1995, this was before I was born. Like a good 7 years. And game took a long time. Yeah, I could only imagine how long it would take. Even with having the basis completed, right, with Exile 1, right, I'm sure the sequel still took a while. Okay, and it just takes us back. So, very, very cool. I think that's pretty much the last thing we wanted to do. I am going to quickly make our way to Katra, even if it is destroyed. It is our favorite city, or at least it's my favorite city, so I want to end the playthrough there. We probably will have to fight enemies at Katra. Hopefully not. We'll see if we can make it there quickly. I might just fast forward through this. Getting there, this might take me a bit. Okay, so we made it back to what used to be Katra, of course. This is destroyed, but it still is my favorite city, so I think we'll end it maybe on the docks, perhaps. Kind of a cool vibe. Probably want to see the party, though. Maybe we'll move it. Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so this is the end of the journey for Ferdinand, Baldo, Ingraham, Swarm of Nass, Cinnamon, and Mia of Teal Moon. So here's a look at the stats, of course. So Ferdinand actually reached up to level 45, which is quite high. Here's the gear that we used near the end. Oh my gosh, I didn't know he had medium energy potions. Wow, okay, well, that would have helped. Oh no. Yeah, this guy too. Did we seriously not use any of these? Okay, well that is a tragedy. Regardless, I guess they have it for their next adventure that they go on. Otto, of course, his stats. 41. Ingraham, with his equipment, a magic halberd, legendary. Snorm actually reached level 40, which is pretty cool. He was a pretty good character. The dual wielding was quite effective. We never ended up using this, but in one attempt I did. It was quite cool. And Cinnamon, the priest, only got to level 27, but you know, pretty good result overall. Obviously, without the priest, there's no way that you're getting very far, unless you just don't take damage. And finally, Mia of Teal Moon, our faithful and trusty mage, level 31. Never maxed out spell points, but we did max out intelligence. That was nice. Of course, this was the party member that was able to, you know, capture different creatures, specifically the basilisk that we made such good use of. And she had the crystal shield, the Orbathonial, and the cool, very neat Micah's gloves. So I guess you can't look at them in combat, but yeah. So this is the end, guys. Thank you for watching, for being a part of the journey. I really appreciate it, and it was a really fun time, and I hope to see you all again in Exile 3, whenever that may be. So I always end it by saying, as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time, but in this case, I'll just end it by saying thank you for watching.